Team USA women's basketball is back in headlines, and this time it's not because of a gold medal or a buzzer beater. It's because of a jersey number. More specifically, it's because of the jersey number in women's basketball right now. Caitlin Clark's 22. A recent Team USA training camp roster listed Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark wearing number 17 instead of her iconic number 22. On paper, that's a small detail. In reality, it lit up social media and sparked a much bigger conversation about respect, branding, power, and how the biggest star in the women's game is being treated by USA Basketball. Here's what we know, what's being rumored, and why this story has struck such a nerve. Caitlin Clark and the power of number 22. Before you can understand why fans are so riled up, you have to understand what number 22 means in women's basketball right now. Caitlin Clark has worn 22 since she was a kid. She said before she picked it simply because she was born on January 22nd and stuck with it from about age 5. Over the years, that simple choice turned into a full-blown brand. At Iowa, the number 22 jersey became a phenomenon. Sold out arenas, record TV audiences, kids lining up in replica jerseys. All of that is tied in people's minds to Clark in 22, pulling up from the logo and hitting threes from seemingly impossible distances. When she transitioned to the WNBA and the Indiana Fever, she kept the number. Fever 22 is now one of the most recognizable images in all of women's sports. For many casual fans who just started following the women's game over the last 2 years, 22 is Caitlin Clark, the same way 23 is Michael Jordan or 30 is Stephen Curry. That's not an exaggeration. Right now, you can make a very strong case that 22 is the single most recognizable number in women's sports worldwide. It's not just ink on a jersey. It's a symbol that instantly tells people, Caitlin Clark is on this court. So when a new Team USA roster landed and showed her wearing 17 instead, people didn't see it as a small clerical change. They saw it as something much bigger. The roster that set this off. In late December, USA Basketball released the official roster for its women's national team training camp, scheduled for December 12th to 14th at Duke University in North Carolina. Alongside established stars and rising names, players like Aaliyah Boston, Cameron Brink, Juju Watkins, Lauren Betts, and others, was Caitlin Clark. Her presence on the list was welcome news, especially after the controversy around her not being named to the Paris Olympic roster earlier in the year. Then fans started scanning the jersey numbers. Listed next to Caitlin Clark's name was number 17. Not 22, not TBD, just 17. As people looked more closely at the document, they noticed something else. Nobody on the training camp list was assigned number 22 at all. It wasn't that the number was already taken by a veteran or a longtime national team regular. It was simply left unused. That single detail turned what could have been written off as national team numbers are different sometimes into something fans perceived very differently. Because if nobody else is wearing 22, why isn't Caitlin Clark? Rumors of an ultimatum. It didn't take long for online speculation to go into overdrive. Some outlets and social media voices began claiming, without official confirmation, that Caitlin had pushed back behind the scenes. The story being floated was that she told Team USA point blank, if she can't wear 22, she doesn't want to be there. None of that has been publicly confirmed by Clark or USA Basketball. There's been no on-the-record statement from Sue Bird, who now serves as managing director for the women's national team, or from head coach Cheryl Reeve addressing this specific issue. But in sports, perception often moves faster than facts. And right now, the perception among a large section of fans is that USA Basketball did not prioritize a small but meaningful request from the most marketable player in the women's game. For many of her supporters, it feels like yet another sign that Clark's impact is being downplayed by the establishment. The Olympic snub still looms. The jersey number situation didn't happen in a vacuum. It landed not long after one of the most debated decisions in recent women's basketball history. Caitlin Clark being left off the final 12-player Olympic roster. From a pure basketball standpoint, you can construct arguments both ways. Team USA went with a veteran-heavy group that went on to win gold, as they almost always do. The women's national team has not lost an Olympic play since 1992. Coaches and selectors prioritize chemistry, experience, and positional balance, not just star power. But from a marketing and growth perspective, leaving off Caitlin Clark, at the exact moment she was breaking every viewership record in sight, baffled a lot of people. You had the biggest name in women's sports at that point, healthy and available, and she wasn't part of the sport's most visible global showcase. When this new training camp roster came out with her wearing 17 and 22 sitting empty, it landed in that same emotional space for fans who already felt she'd been disrespected once. To them, it looked like a pattern. First, she's not on the Olympic team. Then, she gets invited to camp, but not allowed to wear the number her entire fan base associates with her. And in both cases, there's no real explanation from officials that satisfies what people are seeing. What might be going on from Team USA's side? To be fair, there are some logistical realities around national team jerseys that are worth noting. Historically, international competitions, especially under FIBA rules, sometimes restricted jersey numbers to certain ranges, for example, for 15, to help referees signal fouls using their hands. That's why you often saw players who wore high numbers in college or the WNBA suddenly using smaller numbers in international play. Michael Jordan, famously number 23 in the NBA, wore number 9 for Team USA. Over time, those rules have loosened. You now see more variety in international jersey numbers. But within USA basketball, there can still be internal traditions, pecking orders, and decisions made by equipment or coaching staff that don't always align with what fans expect. That said, none of those usual explanations answer the big question here. If there was no veteran guarding number 22, and if the number was clearly available on the training camp list, why not assign it to the player most synonymous with it? USA basketball has not offered a public rationale. Until they do, the vacuum will be filled by theories, some measured, some not. Sue Bird's new role in a very different era. One name that keeps coming up in these discussions is Sue Bird. After retiring from an incredible playing career that included 4 WNBA titles and 5 Olympic gold medals, Bird took on a front office role as managing director of the USA basketball women's national team. That job puts her in the middle of everything: roster planning, culture building, long-term strategy, and, yes, managing the expectations of stars. Bird is responsible for building the bridge between the program's legendary past and its future. She knows better than almost anyone what it takes to win at the international level, and she also understands how different the landscape is now compared to when she first joined Team USA. Back then, the women's national team didn't have a Caitlin Clark-level crossover star. Today, she's operating in an era where one player can single-handedly boost TV ratings, sell out road arenas across the country, and pull new fans into the WNBA and women's college basketball. If reports are true that there's been friction over something like a jersey number, Bird is now in the difficult position of balancing two truths. No player is bigger than the program, but the program has never had a player with this kind of individual spotlight before. What looks like a small power move or "we treat everyone the same here" statement from the inside can feel like tone-deaf disrespect from the outside when you factor in the business and branding side of modern sports. A symbol of something bigger in women's basketball. For a lot of fans, this isn't really about 22 versus 17 at all. It's about what the decision represents. Women's basketball players have spent years fighting for basic respect in pay, in travel conditions, in media coverage, and in how decision-makers talk about their value. Even with the recent surge in popularity, those battles haven't suddenly vanished. The WNBA is in the middle of tense collective bargaining discussions. Players have been open about feeling undervalued, especially when they see how much money their presence is clearly bringing in through ticket sales, merchandise, and TV ratings. When the most visible, heavily marketed star in the sport appears to be getting blocked from keeping a core part of her brand for no obvious reason, it hits that same nerve. Why is it so hard for women athletes to have control over small but meaningful parts of their careers? Why does it feel like they are constantly being asked to take one for the team in ways that male stars rarely are? Again, we don't know what was said behind closed doors. We don't know if Caitlin Clark actually issued an ultimatum about walking away from Team USA over the number. Those are rumors, not confirmed facts. But we do know this. The reaction from fans online has been overwhelmingly on her side. They're frustrated, they're vocal, and they're telling her to stand her ground as she feels she's being diminished. Does Caitlin Clark need Team USA more than Team USA needs Caitlin Clark? This is the question that makes the situation so different from anything USA basketball has dealt with before on the women's side. Traditionally, being chosen to represent Team USA was the pinnacle. It was the honor you didn't question. You took whatever number they gave you. You played at limited minutes if that's what the coach wanted, because nothing was bigger than the flag and the program. For a long time, that made sense. USA basketball offered a level of exposure and prestige players couldn't get anywhere else. With Caitlin Clark, the equation is at least a little different. She already has unprecedented visibility. She already plays in front of bigger total TV audiences than some Olympic group stage games draw. She is already one of the most marketable athletes in the world, with endorsement deals that don't depend on national team participation. For Caitlin, playing for Team USA would still be a huge honor. No question. But strictly from a leverage standpoint, she doesn't need the program the way past players did. The program, however, very much benefits from having her. With Clark on the roster, Team USA games become must-see events for casual fans, not just hardcore basketball watchers. Without her, they risk looking out of touch to a generation of viewers who associate women's basketball's excitement and energy directly with her presence. That doesn't mean she should or will walk away over a number. But it does mean that if she feels strongly enough to push back, USA basketball has to take that seriously. Where things go from here. For now, all we have officially is a roster sheet that lists Caitlin Clark as number 17 for training camp and shows number 22 empty. We don't know if that will stay the same by the time the team suits up for any actual international games. We don't know if there will be an internal compromise, a policy clarification, or a public explanation. What we do know is that this is no longer just a jersey detail to the fan base. It's become a flashpoint in a much bigger discussion about how women's basketball stars are treated by the institutions around them. It ties into the Olympic roster snub. It ties into the WNBA's ongoing labor fight. It ties into the idea of older power structures struggling to adjust to a new era where one player can be bigger than their system. In the end, it might get resolved quietly. Clark might show up to camp, wear 17, and everyone could move on. Or USA basketball might hand her 22 and say nothing more publicly. But the way this blew up and how strongly people feel about it should be a wake-up call for every governing body in women's sports. We are in a new era now. Stars are brands. Fans are paying attention. And even seemingly small decisions, like which number goes on the back of a jersey, can say a lot about who really hold the power and who's being heard. Whether you're a die-hard WNBA fan, a Team USA supporter, or just someone who started tuning in because of Caitlin Clark's logo threes, it's worth watching how this plays out, because this isn't just about one player and one number. It's about how women's basketball handles its biggest star at the very moment the whole world is finally watching.